When I left my job and I didn't really know what I was going to do and I didn't have a gym, I decided I'll do some personal training. It'll help me build that skill set. I want to get into the fitness industry. So I read Alex Hormozy's $100 million Leads, which teaches you how to get your first few leads. And I had more leads than I knew what to do with. I didn't have to get to the next 7 steps. It was unnecessary for me. And I've been reading this, which just came out, $100 million Money Models, as I'm building out the gym and figuring out exactly what that membership process might look like or the different offers might look like. And I'll just say, I'm not even a quarter of the way through the book. This thing is a gold mine. I know already that it is going to have all the answers that I need when it comes to building that business and understanding the different streams of revenue that I'm going to have coming in. So can't recommend it enough. This guy is an absolute G. He gives so much of his information away for free. The books are cheap. The information is as simple, as distilled, and as useful and actionable as you could ever ask for. So can't recommend this book enough. I do drink a lot of electrolytes. I drink a ton of water. Man, I don't even, at this point, how many gallons do you think I drink a day? I probably am close to like 2.5, 3 gallons at this point.
Yeah.
Which is obviously critical. Diet, water, and sleep are like the 3 absolute keys that most people don't even come close to getting right. Meanwhile, they're like concerned about all the other whoop strap like numbers and statistics. She's really big into she's more into like the biohacking stuff. I said, I'm not a science guy. I'm more of a vibes guy. I just go based on vibes. And she likes numbers and stats and facts and figures. So reads like, what are some of the books that you?
Breath.
Longevity.
Like all the books on like
Peter Attia.
Yeah, Peter Attia.
She's into all that kind of stuff.
How to live better.
So that's why when it comes to the red light therapy, CAP, and even like when it comes to like the nose breathing, she knows a lot more about that than I do. I just know what makes me feel good and like.
I'm like, do you know why you're doing that? Like, what are the benefits?
I'm like, I don't know. I felt awesome afterwards.
She's like, I look at the sun and I feel good. I'm like, okay, do you know why?
So let's go. So what we're doing is, like I said, it's as important to me to be the man that I want to be, to set aside time that I can be a good husband and be a good partner. And I love spending time with my wife. I have no problem saying that.
Oh, thanks.
This is my, this is my best friend. I love spending time with you. And it's as important to me to set aside a few hours to go do something like this as it is, like I said earlier, to sit down and hammer out a bunch of work or do all this other stuff that I just spent however long teaching the audience about. And I think that a lot of times people think that like going on a date has to be some really big over the top extravagant thing, or it needs to take a lot of planning, or people say they don't have time for it. And do you want to say what we're about to go do?
We're about to go walk to the gym. And like, this is something that we do pretty regularly, is like take walks together, go to the gym together. And it's just a way for us to connect and talk. And if we have like to be creative or have some business ideas that we need to talk through, it's just a really good way for us to do it.
And all it takes is a few hours for us to go for a walk, and we'll be able to, instead of planning one like massive date, we're just going to go and do a bunch of little ones all in our neighborhood, and low effort, low planning necessary, and just kind of like make a day of it as much as possible. So this is, and again, this is something that we do frequently. So we're looking forward to having you guys tag along.
Let's go.
Do I need anything else? I got my phone.
Hi, babies.
You got everything in your bag.
I got
See
everything.
you, Bubs.
Start my whoop. Start my tracking.
We're gonna do
this
route.
neighborhood, yeah.
Okay.
Neighborhood. So that's what's fun, is we have different like paths that we like to do.
Yeah.
And it's not just the same thing every single time.
So we've moved here about 2.5 months ago. We're in East Austin right now, by the way. We've lived in East Austin for the last almost 13 years since we've lived in Austin. It is absolutely our favorite neighborhood. I literally can't think of another place that I would rather live than East Austin, at least not right now. And we couldn't be happier with this new home we lived in. We moved from just a few blocks away, and even though it literally is almost the exact same
Over the
neighborhood,
hill, yeah.
it feels very different over here, and we like have been thrilled with the recent relocation. And when we talk about like a lot of the low-hanging fruit that people miss, I already said water, I said sleep, of course, diet. And when I say diet, what I really mean is like cutting out a lot of the extra processed sugars and the processed foods and the seed oils, and just really just sticking to whole foods. If all you did was stick to whole foods with your diet, you're probably doing pretty well. But another huge thing that people just don't think about is just walking and being outside,
Getting sun.
getting sun on you.
Beautiful.
And it just seems like it's something that kind of goes overlooked. People spend so much time inside in an office, at a computer, in front of screens,
Covering themselves in sunblock.
and covering themselves in sunblock. Or even wearing sunglasses. Like you
Yeah.
get the sun in your eyes a little bit too. So I said that we've lived in East Austin for the last 13 years. And our story is that we moved down here with no place to live, no jobs, nothing. My best friend since high school. So the two most important people in my life I've known since high school, which of course is this one right here, and my best friend Jay. He was my best friend since my freshman year of high
He's
school.
got like 1 year on me.
And he holds that over her head.
He's like, I've known Jared longer. I'm like, okay.
So that is my absolute best friend. And he lived down here in Austin while we were in, not after you, my absolute male best friend.
Yes.
He moved down to Austin while I was in law school. And we had come down to visit him a few times. We came down for South by. As well as like during the summer at one point, and we really liked the city. And Austin was very, 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 very different at that point. A much different place. It was super hipstery. It was a much weirder, stranger place. Not nearly as built up and metropolitan, of course. And the East Side was very different at that time too. And we thought that we would, come for like a year or two, check it out.
3 years. I said 3.
I know you were thinking. I was thinking like it would be a short stop.
Yeah.
Before we go back up to New Jersey or whatever.
Yeah. Just follow the path
Yeah.
of living in Jersey.
Because like we never really considered living anywhere else other than like New York or New Jersey. Even when we were at Penn State, like we never considered going anywhere else outside of like the Northeast.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
But one thing I don't even really know. I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer. My opportunities when I was graduating law school to have a legal career were all in New York and New Jersey. And it just felt like going back there wasn't the right move. And it felt like that would almost have been like regressing as opposed to like making progress. And even though we didn't know what Austin had in store for us whatsoever, we knew that we liked it. We knew that it seemed like it was going to be fun. We knew that there was a lot of opportunity there, and it was growing at the time. And by the time we moved down here, I had thought that we had missed the boat on Austin. I thought that, and this was in 2013, I thought that like Austin was done. I figured like it had peaked, which is like hilarious to think about. And we packed our bags in Pennsylvania, packed our car up, moved down here. There was a moment where we were literally sitting on the side in a gas station in Kentucky, eating peanut butter and jellies on the ground of a gas station. And
There's
we
a KFC, I think, like in the same.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was like a gas station KFC that was closed. I don't even think it was like, I think it was like out of business. And I turned to her and I go, we're homeless, right? Like we literally don't have jobs and we don't have a place to live. We're driving down to Austin. We're going to live on Jay's girlfriend's couch, basically.
Yep.
It was like the best that we had. And We did actually live on her couch for a couple weeks until we had to figure out what the hell we were going to do.
Kicked out.
We got kicked out.
My management. They found out we were there.
Yeah. So I was studying for the bar at that point because I still wanted to pass the bar exam. So I was at the Texas State Library doing Barbary courses while she was at home, and she called me while I'm like face deep in the middle of like my bar review, and she goes, "We're getting kicked out of the place that we're staying," and she's like pulling all of our stuff into the car, and I was like, "Okay, I guess like you better go find us an apartment." And Jay, who was again my buddy, who we moved down here for in the first place, it just so happened that he was the assistant manager of an apartment complex right over here, Amley East Side in East Austin. And we had no business going for an apartment that was that expensive because like we didn't have a job or any money to show for it.
At that point, I did have my job lined up.
Okay, so you
I had my nursing job.
but you didn't even start it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't even like put an application anywhere in yet because I was still studying for the bar. So the only reason we even got that apartment was because he approved us. And it was definitely way out of like any price range that was reasonable for us at that point. But we moved to Austin for a reason. We moved here to be a part of like the Austin scene, to be a part of like downtown. It would have been really easy to have said, well, let's play it safe and go way south or way north or something else. And we were like, no, like this is where we want to be.
Close to everything. Like we fell in love with Austin because of like downtown and the east side.
Yeah.
Because that's where Jay brought us. And we're like, no, like this is where we want to be. Like this is where we're going to move.
So it wouldn't have made sense to move anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I was like, rather than play it safe and then find a career at that level, I said, well, let's go a little bit bigger and let's like give ourselves a challenge to overcome here. And honestly, it was the best decision that we ever made. We were just, of course, my goal is to be the short jack Tony Robbins. And you were just reading an article with Tony Robbins yesterday.
Yeah,
What was it?
Well, he was talking about like all his things that he's growing and all his like future and investments and all the things he's doing. But one of them is a place called The Estate. And it's an area that you go to like optimize like everything in your life and like your health, wellness, your food you take in, like everything like we're talking about, like how important that is. But he specifically says like how important your environment is. And I sent you the quote and I can't remember exactly what it was.
Your environment shapes your destiny.
Yeah.
Quote. And I didn't like, that's not necessarily the exact words that I would have used at the time to like describe why I was making that decision. But like, that is kind of like the thought process I had, which is like, I'm in Austin to experience Austin for the way that I wanted to experience it. And if I make that any more difficult on myself, it's only going to make my experience here worse. So why wouldn't I optimize for the experience that I want, which is being in the environment that I want? So yeah, we like lived over at Amley East Side.
I gave Jay the check because it was deposit and like first month's rent or something. And Jared again was at the library studying. And I'm at the apartment complex with Jay, handing him over a check. And I said to him, I'm like, Jay, you know this is like the last of our savings right now. And he's like, nice doing business with you. I mean, like such a jerk. But
What's up, dude? Man, it's been a minute. How are you? Dude, good to see you. I see you getting after it, bro. Yeah, dude. Good to see you. Let's catch up soon, okay? See you, bro. Yeah,
Bye.
you too.
So yeah, that was fun little moving down here story.
Yeah. So we were at Amley East Side. She again found a job fairly quickly. As a nurse.
Yeah.
It was easy for her to get a job in a hospital, and
being awesome.
And she's awesome, and she had
very good at interviews.
And you had leadership experience already. That was one of the benefits of like the law school thing. She was my sugar mama during law school. We say that all the time, and I think we talked about that last time. But as a result, she was in a leadership role because we were out in the middle of Pennsylvania, so there was a lot of opportunity for her to step into like a bigger time position. So when we moved down here, it gave her a leg up in the job market, which was awesome.
For sure, yeah. I like went to interview at the hospital down here, and they're like, okay, well, you could be a floor nurse, a wound care nurse, or a manager. Like, I don't know like where to hire you for. And I'm like, all right, well, just give me a job. I need a paycheck, so I'll take anything. And so yeah, I started as a floor nurse, and then like 6 months, not even 6 months, I was the manager of the unit.
And
this was my experience.
I thought that given my law degree, my big fancy law degree, and all the other cool things that I had done at that point, I thought that I was gonna have an easy time finding a job, especially in a place like Austin, big booming city. And I found out very quickly that that was not what I had. That was not the plan that God had for me. With that being said, the truth is that I was really only applying to jobs for like maybe a month before I panicked and took the job that I took. So it really wasn't all that long. And I think if I had probably held out and really like been a little bit more pointed in the types of careers I was looking for, I probably could have found something. But at the time, I was like, I got to figure something out now. It's been long enough. I graduated from law school. We're down here. We got this apartment now. And I did what I really, really, really didn't want to do, which is take a sales job. I had never had an interest in sales. I always thought of it as like a bottom of the barrel kind of job. Like this the thing you do when you can't do anything else. I almost think of it as like borderline like mercenary style work in a lot of ways. And my dad was a salesperson. It was just like never the thing that I wanted. And it was a $20,000 base salary coming out of law school.
Loans.
With my loans, and it was making 150 cold calls a day, like boiler room style sales. And I actually did not think I was going to be good at it. I really didn't. And I don't say that about many things. I really thought I had no.
You also just didn't have the experience.
I can't. I'll take that back. It's not that I didn't think I would be good at it. I really didn't know if I was going to be.
Yeah, like you hadn't had to do that.
Yeah. So it turns out I was really good at it. It actually turns out I was exceptional at it. And I was the top rep in the company after 2 months. And then I was in sales leadership. And then I helped like revamp their entire sales process and training program and all kinds of stuff. And it turns out I really love sales. I do, like tremendously. And more so than even loving sales, I love coaching salespeople and I love teaching them how to keep their head on straight.
The psychology of sales.
Yeah, it's really, I love psychology, so that's really what I love about sales.
I think a really good point you've made before that you should like compare it to is like the reps, like you learned in the gym, like when you're doing your bodybuilding, like that, like staying.
Yep.
Because I think that's a really good comparison.
That's a good point. So I say that like I'm getting a little off topic but we got plenty of time. We're on a long walk here, so I can just take my time with the stories, I guess. I learned, again, when I was doing my bodybuilding, that there's like 5 keys to success. The first one is have a plan. So you need to have like some basic like baseline set of standards that you're living by so that you know what at least is expected of you or what you expect from yourself on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't have some semblance of what you expect of yourself on the day-to-day basis, then you're going to probably do less than what you're supposed to do. So by at least setting some sort of a standard allows you to like play at a certain bar and maintain that standard over an extended period of time. So even a shitty plan is better than no plan at all. So a plan is number one. Second is execute as effectively on that plan as possible in the moment. Don't focus on the past. Don't focus on the future. Don't focus on the outcome. Be right now as optimized and as fully present and bring
all that matters.
Because that is all that matters, and you want to bring 100% of what the energy that you have at that moment to that experience and to that exercise or whatever it is. Third is be consistent. So that is the key to every success story you ever heard, is that consistency is key. Even when you don't feel like it, even when you can make an excuse, even when it feels like there's no way that you could possibly move forward, you just keep staying consistent over the long haul. That is where true success comes from. And then fourth get a coach and listen to them and be coachable and do the things that people who have been successful before, the ways they've found success, just listen to them. And basically what you're getting with the coach is you're getting the right plan. You're learning how to execute on it effectively, and you're getting the accountability to be consistent, which is where most people fail. And then fifth is lean into discomfort. So anytime that you feel a little uncertain about something or fearful or uncomfortable, that is a sign that you're growing. It's a sign you're doing the right thing and you're putting yourself in the right position. So the more that you can learn how to lean into discomfort, the more growth you're gonna see in the long run. And that's what I learned while I was bodybuilding. I also learned that that was valuable in law school because I pretty much just like applied very similar rules in law school, which allowed me to be at the top of my class. And then finally, when I got into sales, especially in the cold calling position, those exact same rules are what allowed me to be successful, because it was like, okay, I know the exact metrics that I'm planning to hit in a day, and I'm not gonna go home until those things are accomplished. Secondly, execute. All right, I'm not gonna worry about the last call. I'm not gonna worry about getting to the close on this call. I am just gonna worry about doing the exact right thing that I'm supposed to do at this moment right now and not skipping steps. Being consistent, so it's just like, even when I don't want to make 150 cold calls, or when I don't wanna get hung up on again, it's just like, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna keep going.
Yep.
Coaching, my managers were awesome, and I owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to them for this day, and I tell them that all the time. The first few people that were my first true sales leaders, they taught me pretty much everything I know about sales, or at least like the basics of it, and I didn't question them. I just launched in 100% to what they told me to do. And then most importantly is I realized, like, the more uncomfortable I'm willing to get in a sales conversation, the better the conversations go and the more likely I am to close a deal. So I just applied that exact same success strategy to sales, and it allowed me to be the top of the company in 2 months, and then like literally learn enough through that experience to revamp the entire way that they did their sales. And then that led me to my next career, or my next position on a more enterprise level sales team. And then finally, the last job that I had before I left that corporate career to do what we're doing now. We got to go over
I
here.
know, it's like perfect.
This
perfect.
is great timing. It was like a startup. When I first started, there was very few people, even if the company had only been around
Him and
for.
Jay, they
Yeah,
work together.
so this is where it all actually, this is how it all comes together.
Yeah.
My buddy Jay had a background in real estate. He told me that he was interviewing at this company. He thought it would be something that I'd be interested in. So I decided, okay, I'll take a look. Brand new startup. Definitely a little bit of a step down for me to take the sales job that I did at that time, but I saw a ton of opportunity for myself to grow with the company, and I told them, when the time comes, I want to be thought of for a leadership position. I know you're going to need it at some point in the future, even if not right now. And sure enough, after about a month, I joined. They needed a new product to get launched. I launched that product. I spent about 7 years with that company, scaling that to a $30 million sales team. I was running product development, sales, client success, the entire client lifecycle, start to finish, renewals as well. And then I realized I don't want to do this anymore. Why am I doing this for somebody else? It's time for me to do something that I find fulfilling, that I'm passionate about, that actually drives real value for people. And if I can sell this bullshit, I bet you I can sell something real a whole hell of a lot easier.
And something you like actually believe in.
And at the time, we lived about 2 blocks that way. So that's where we moved from, is 2 blocks that way.
So that was our walk. So it's the same neighborhood.
And I quit my job to lease this building right here.
This is the space.
This is literally the space that I leased when I quit my job. This was the document that I signed was for this. The next day, I called my boss and said, hey, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I'm so fucking good at what I did that they gave me 6 months before.
They're like, please don't leave.
They couldn't get rid of me. So they gave me 6 months between when I put my notice in and when I left. And that was on New Year's Eve, 2020, going into 2024.
Yeah.
And this was the building. And then this building, before I even left my job, during that 6 months, went into foreclosure. And I lost my lease on this building. So that was left at the beginning of 2024 with no gym and no job. And I put that massive action plan together that you saw, and I've been dominating it for the last year and a half. And now on the other end of this walk, you're gonna see our new gym facility, the one that has fallen into our lap that literally couldn't be a bigger blessing and a better business deal for us.
100%.
This would have bankrupted me if
And,
this
like,
thing went through.
I think of like the time we would have spent there, the operations of it, the rent, like everything.
Yeah.
It was like we weren't even in the space, and it was already like a stress of being like, we need this many members by this month, or else like it's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna make it work. And I'm like, yeah.
This would have bankrupted us
Yeah.
if we had gotten into this. So not even a blessing in disguise, an
Right.
all-out blessing. And we had,
Shining.
at the time, we knew it. Like, it wasn't like when this fell through, it was, the concern wasn't that it fell through. It was like, oh, good. I'm actually
Yeah.
kind of happy that it did. But the biggest question was like, but what now?
Yeah.
So I put that massive action plan together in terms of all the things that I've wanted to do.
And you read 100 million. What is it?
Yeah, so I said I was reading the Hormozy 100 million money models, which is going to be really relevant moving forward. But I first read $100 million Leads by Alex Hormozy. I did step 1 of his 8-step process, and I had more clients than I knew what to do with when I started personal training. So I didn't have to do the other 7 steps.
Did you even finish the book?
Yeah, of course, I finished the book. I just didn't finish the other steps. And again, like, all that is to say that, like, all of this is happening in East Austin over the last like handful of years, and by the end of this, you'll see the actual space. And it's just incredible how these things work out just by like doing all those 5 keys of success that I literally just outlined. It's just sticking to that process continues to pay off time and time and time again.
And there's plenty of moments of discomfort.
Yep.
And that's when we lean the hardest.
And plenty of times where I was rubbing Buddha's belly, where I could have allowed myself to think about all of the things that were going wrong or could go wrong, or making up billions of different stories and scenarios in my mind as to why it's not going to work out or why I should go back and take my job. They offered me the week that I was leaving. My job was like, you could stay if you want, right? And I didn't have a gym at that point. It would have been really easy for me to go, sure, maybe another 3 months, maybe another 6 months while I figure out what I'm gonna do. But I was like, no, I made my decision. I'm done. This is not for me anymore. There was plenty of signs that it wasn't for me anymore and that I was on to something bigger and better. And like, yeah, if I wasn't rubbing Buddha's belly every morning, the likelihood is that I would have succumbed to that fear-based,
Yeah, that for
scarcity-based
sure, that
mindset.
pressure.
So everything that I'm talking about today, from the PEDs to the gratitude to our relationship to the experiences that we even had like here in East Austin, like it all literally ties together into like one cohesive story as far as I'm concerned.
It's all connected.
All right, we got moving. Yeah, it's great going.
It was perfect. This was
Yeah. I didn't realize we were going to be walking past this.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
In East Austin, again, Amley East Side was our first home. Then we bought a house on Holly Street. It's like 2 blocks off of Rainy Street.
It's perfect location. You would think it
Most
would be
beautiful.
a problem.
It's a great location. It's actually an awesome neighborhood, beautiful little neighborhood, beautiful little house. It's a B unit, about 900 square feet, but it was a brand new build. It was like modern and cool. It has tons of natural light. It was like our it was like our dollhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
It was our first home that we owned. It was like, we have a lot of like really fun memories there.
We went through COVID there, and like our house was like the COVID house. Like everyone like came over. Jared built like a tiki bar. We had a pool for like 3 weeks until that got holes in it. Like we had everything. Like it was just a great spot, and so many of our friends are like, "Oh, the Holly house!" Like everyone has like a very special place for that house.
Yeah, we threw like quite a few parties there, even
Halloween, New Year's.
even with as small as it was, we
Yeah.
managed to squeeze a whole lot of people. We did karaoke there regularly. During COVID, we got a projector.
Yep.
Screen and a projector, and in the backyard we would just like do karaoke. You could see it from the street, so people would be like walking by and they would like come into the backyard and be doing karaoke with us.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun in that house, but eventually we just like outgrew it. It was too much. That's when we bought this Weberville house,
Yep.
which was again like just a couple blocks that way. Lived there for a few years, and that was when we again started to kind of be like, it's definitely time for us to do something different and grow in a new way and take our career in a new place. And we knew that part of that Well, we didn't know it at first. We knew that we were going to sell Holly. And then we had another condo up in New Jersey that we got rid of, or we sold. And we thought that we would hold on to as much of our real estate as possible while we built this business, which was honestly, ultimately, just like a very silly,
Yeah, it was.
pie in the sky thought. And then I went to my very first Tony Robbins UPW event and had
Unleash the power within for the people who don't know what UPW is.
unleash the power within. I was a Tony
Start
Robbins.
talking in all the acronyms.
I was a Tony. I had nothing against Tony Robbins, but I was a Tony Robbins skeptic, I would say, until I went to that, and it was the most incredible experience of my life. And it was actually on this very block right here that I had the transformative breakthrough that probably everybody else in the world would have already known, but I was too blind to see myself, which was that, oh, we have to sell our homes in order to make this thing work, because
Yeah,
that's...
we don't need to have all these mortgages and all this
I
stuff,
gotta get
all these things.
I need to get rid of these assets, which feel more like liabilities. I have to get rid of these things in order to, redirect my resources and redirect my energy, financially and otherwise, into more growth-oriented places. So that is why we, a couple months ago, sold Weberville. We're in the process of releasing Holly right now.
Yes, release.
Releasing.
Goodbye.
It's the word I've been using.
We went and did a seance there to release us from any energy.
We did a seance, and then I did a straight up exorcism in that house a few weeks ago. We got super fortunate to find the house that we're in right now, because once again, like we couldn't be happier in it. And yes, we're renting, but like, I love renting. I love renting. I'm not going to say that I'll never buy a house again, because like I'm sure I will. And I also imagine I'll probably want to buy a house sooner than I think I will. But like, I know as soon as I buy a house, I want to go back to renting again.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. You of course get so much more for your money. And anytime there's something wrong, guess whose problem it is? Not fucking mine. It's not my problem anymore. It's on somebody else. And there's like nothing that gives me more glee than that. So especially like,
Jared's not Mr. Fix-It.
I'm not.
No,
I have zero
not when
interest.
it comes to that. Like, you'll fix obviously like a problem that somebody's having or something like that. But if like something, like an appliance breaks or
That's not my
something's
shit.
wrong with the air conditioner, he's like, fuck my life. What's happening?
I don't like, I mean, I will do the handyman shit if I have to. I would rather outsource it, but guess what? I'd rather just text my landlord and say, take care of this. That's my favorite. Because especially like not just when you're living in the house, but when you are also the landlord for one or two other people, that's no fun. That's not how I want to spend my day. Even though I thought for a long time that is how I wanted to spend my time.
But it is like weird. That's what people in like society like tell you is like that's a level of success. Like when you buy your house and you get another house, and now you rent that house out and you're making money from it, and buy this house and flip it. And I'm like, that's too much.
If you are making that your priority,
Yeah, exactly.
and
but
that's
like,
what you want to be doing, like, then do that. If that's your your actual business strategy, then yes. If you're doing what we were doing, which was
Monopoly.
just half-assing it and like not really being actually that intentional about it, then it's like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
It just took me a while to figure that out.
And that was an area of discomfort too. Lean into that and say like, okay, it's time to like sell these homes.
Oh, yeah.
And go to renting. Like I struggled with that. I remember when you said it, I honestly was very quiet on the rest of that walk.
Yeah, I know.
And then we would talk about it, and anytime like he would start to bring it up, I like would shut down. And I would be like, I don't want to talk about this. And he's like, okay, but like we have to discuss this. Like this, we have to go through this. And I think you just gently peeled away what it was. And for me, it was that feeling of like not having my own house or not owning, like because of this, again, this like, society and what would my parents think? What would my siblings think who all own? And like all these like things. And then I got to that point where I was like, okay, like, yeah, I don't care about that. And the one thing that I did really care about when we left that Weberville home. I remember like crying over it when we were sitting at the dining room table. I was like, but what about the plants and everything you did for this house to make it look so pretty? Because our backyard was beautiful because of all the like plants that you put back there. And we watched these palm trees grow over the years.
Yeah.
Like that like was the sad part to me.
My plants were the thing that I missed the most from that house. Because
Yeah.
the backyard was like kind of garbage when we moved in.
Yeah, really bad.
And I put a ton of like cool plants back there. And honestly, they
Some
all...
rose bushes.
Yeah, and they all... I never had to replace. Actually, there was one I think I had to replace
Yeah.
over those years. And I love taking care of my plants. When I talk about my massive action plan, one thing that I didn't say earlier is that when it comes to the reason it's 3 years, what that means is that you have to be more specific, or you have to whittle away some of the things that like you wish that you could focus on, but of course you can't. So, for example, assuming I live to be 125 years old, let's say, I'm expecting to have enough time where I can learn to do a couple things. I want to learn jujitsu or some sort of combat sport. I need to do some sort of martial art or combat sport. I believe jujitsu is the one that I would probably...
Isn't it interesting now that the
like
Void
to
is at Coliseum?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
I'll-
a new like mixed martial arts jiu-jitsu shop.
So
or
that would
place.
make it convenient for me. But I know that I'm not going to want to do that until I have a real amount of time to commit to it. I don't want to like half-ass it and just kind of like do it every once in a while. It's like if I'm going to do it, I want to be good at it. And I know that's going to mean I should be doing it a couple times a week. And that's going to require more bandwidth. So that is not on my massive action plan right now. Another thing that I want to learn how to do, because I love plants and I love horticulture, and I've really loved to learn how to like garden over the last several years, is I want to learn how to grow my own weed, because I love weed, and I feel like doing that and like learning how to really care for them and then being able to like smoke it, I feel like that'd be like a really dope experience. But I know that I also don't have the capacity or the bandwidth right now for that. So those things aren't on my massive action plan. So I have to go through my day to day knowing that because I am not learning jujitsu or learning how to grow weed, I might die never having accomplished those goals. And because it's not on my massive action plan, it means that I have to be okay with that. But as I said, I'm breezing through my massive action plan right now. And it's not that unlikely that by 2026, those two things very well could be on my map. I believe that they will. But it's just important to me. I think like when I think about that sort of stuff, it's important that like your priorities are as much about what you're saying yes to as much as what you're saying no to. And those two things are things that I'm like, I keep like spinning on in terms of like, these are things I want to get started, but I just know that they're not realistic given the other priorities that I have right now. And like, that's what commitment is. It's like what you say no to is as much as what you say yes to. So to can tie this all back together.
All the bees.
My buddy Jay, high school, best friend, lived in Austin. Reason why we moved down here, he was the assistant manager at Amley Eastside who got us the apartment, even though we technically couldn't afford it. And he's the guy who introduced me to Qualia, which was the last company that I worked for. We worked together there for a while. And my buddy Jay, for a very long time, people couldn't believe that we were friends because we're very, very opposite. I'm short and stocky and muscular, and I'm, I care about my physical fitness, and he's about 6'4", and for a very long time, he was like very, very overweight, and like did not give a fuck about how he looked or how he ate or exercised or anything like that. And while we worked at Qualia together, we would take some time at lunch to go and do a walk around like the parking lot, or maybe a quick walk like around the park or whatever, just to get a few steps in, get out of the office. And that would never be more than like 20, maybe 30 minutes max. And then around COVID, when I started doing my walks, we would get on the phone together, and we started kind of like walking literally daily. When I say this is my best friend, I mean I could talk to this guy every single day. We never run out of things to talk about, and we've known each other for 20 years. So, or no, 4 years. And
Don't rub it in.
and we would do this loop, literally that's actually this loop here. Every day. This was a 43 minute loop where I started doing my walks. We would talk every single day, and eventually he started tracking his steps.
Yep.
And we would have like meaningful conversations about personal growth and all the things that were happening in the world specifically around that time, around COVID, which of course like was also somehow tied into health.
And Jared had like much more of like an awakening at this time, and he was very vocal about it and sharing it with Jay.
This is when I lost my mind, I say. This is around 2020, 2021, where I officially lost my mind and went crazy. I mean that in the best way possible. So
I say essentially.
it was a transformative moment for me, and Jay, I would say, baby stepped his way through our walks toward a health journey of his own. And now we are in 2025. Him and his family just moved to Arizona. So
I guess we'll be moving there in 4 years.
So yeah, I'm sure at some point we'll probably be following him to Arizona, if I had to guess. But he went from damn near 400 pounds to he weighs less than I do right now.
Yep.
He weighs like 195 pounds or something like that. I think actually
Talking about
that's not
doing
true.
an Iron, was he wanting to do an Ironman, or what was he wanting to do?
He's in the gym regularly. He's saunaing. He's cold plunging. He's lifting weights. He's running. He's hiking. These are things that like the fact that he even like is entertaining those things is crazy, and the fact that he actually does them every single day is awesome. And it's like, I started my walks, we started them together, we both like kind of had this interesting transformative experience together during those walks, and he's a different person today.
Completely different. He used to complain, like, if we'd be at a bar and he'd be like, I don't want to walk to that other bar, and it'd be like a few blocks down the street. Like, he just didn't like want to do anything. And like, he has a son, and like now he's, like Jared said, he's active, he's going on hikes. His son like looks like can't wait to go into like lift weights at home. Jack wanted weights for Christmas, so Jared actually got him a kettlebell for Christmas.
So that's him pretty much at his biggest. And this next photo, this is like halfway through the transformation. He's skinnier now than he's considerably skinnier now than he is then, but like that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
And like now again, he doesn't just look like a big guy who like is like maybe not fat. He looks like he's skinny.
Yeah.
There's actually a while where I was like, dude, you're too skinny. I also believe that by being outside, if you're inside on a treadmill, it's really easy to like be staring at the TV or down at your phone, or even looking down like reading something. And of course, you're not actually in the sun, and you're not actually like moving through a true 3D space. But I genuinely think just, of course, the sun has its own benefits. And of course, being in nature and like being around trees and grounding and all of that has its benefits. But I think just like even just walking in the outdoors, you're more likely to keep your head up, you're more likely to keep your shoulders back, you're more likely to keep your chest up than if you're on a treadmill, which is like more of like a hamster wheel. And I think that alone is like tremendously beneficial, because you're working on your posture, your energy is able to transverse through your body and through your chakras more effectively if your head is up. And what that literally does is it allows your like mind to expand more.
Yeah, I love like doing our walks, because that's where, one, I like relieve a lot of tension on a walk. I feel like if I'm coming home from work or something else is going on, and like we just go for, even if it's like the little ones we've like done recently, where it's like 15 minutes just around the street, it like relieves so much tension for me. And then I also like it for the creative, it gets into like more of a flow state where you're just like walking and talking. I like being in nature, looking at all the trees, all the animals.
And I, of course, I do a lot of client calls while I'm on my walks. I do a lot of audio messages while I'm on my walks. I do my best thinking and my best creating when I'm on my walks. So for example, like we have Stoic Sunday tomorrow, and I don't give too much thought to really what I'm going to say during Stoic Sunday, but a walk is when I'll probably like have that free time to just kind of get into a meditative, mindful state. And getting into that meditative, mindful state allows like those ideas to flow. So I think tomorrow for Stoic, what I'm going to do is we talk a lot, like very like abstractly and etherically about like presence, but I feel like even just the PED thing today is probably what I'll kick off with tomorrow, where it's going to be more like true real world, like practical ways to maintain that presence. And for me, like I said, the task list, my get to list is largely that strategy, which makes decision making easier and limits decision fatigue and allows me to be truly focused on what I'm doing right now and not have to think about what I was just doing or what I'm doing next. So I feel like that's probably where I'm going to take the conversation tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of conversation that we would have typically on our walks, or something like that.
Or if we're like have to do some client calls, it's like, okay, let's go on a walk before a client call. It's like, what are the topics we need to cover? What do we want to make sure we hit? It's again better than just like sitting in the house.
Or doing it like across a table from each other.
Yep. And then it's extra special when we're catching sunsets.
Yes.
That is my favorite time. Not this like high noon sun.
I like both, but sunset walks are particularly nice.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do Coliseum or squash?
I guess let's check out.
Check out squash.
Yeah.